Another day, another car park, another review. So today's movie is Tolkien. Guess what it's about? It is, of course, about the formative years of the man who went on to create Middle-earth, who created The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings. So he's responsible for some of what's considered the greatest fantasy works of the last God knows how many years. And obviously in the last, let's just put this out there, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring came out in 2001. So as of this year, this December, it will be 18 years old, which is frankly horrifying. But we've had obviously The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, The Return of the King, and then a few years later we had the Hobbit films, or more recently we had the Hobbit films. So it seemed to make sense to make a film about the life story of the man responsible for creating these works that have had such an impact on literature and cinema in the past. It said at the end of the film The Hobbit was published in 1937. So, his stuff's been kicking around for a while. Maybe you studied The Hobbit in school. Maybe you're reading it now to your kids. And like I say, the movie's really brought his work to an audience that really might not have experienced it otherwise. Before I get on talking about this film, I will say, ordinarily in conversation, if someone says to me, if I say, have you read whatever book, and they go, no, I haven't, but I've seen the film. The Beach. Don't know why The Beach popped into my head, but it did. Have you read The Beach by Alex Garland? No, but I saw the film. Sod off. The book's amazing, the film's piffle. And even if it's a good adaptation, there's still a part of me that thinks, yeah, but read the book, because the book's, the source material. And if you love the book and the film's dreadful, you've still got your love for the book. Hunger Games, I guess, would be another example. Great books and great adaptations, I feel, but you get so much more from the book. So normally if someone says to me, oh no, but I've seen it, I'm a little bit judgy. And I think, yeah, it's not the same thing. However, I have read The Hobbit, I have read The Fellowship of the Ring, and I've read The Two Towers. I've still never read The Return of the King. And I think I read The Two Towers when I was pregnant with Eva, so that's 11 years ago. And I just can't face Return of the King. I'll read it at some point just to check it off the list, but they're not the easiest reading. They're quite, I was going to say wordy. Of course they're wordy, they're books. But as this film demonstrates, he was obsessed with language. So they're quite dense to read. So it's my feeling that what Peter Jackson and his lovely wife and the lovely, Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens and Peter Jackson were responsible for those films. And what they did was they took these incredible stories, legends, myths, language that Tolkien had created from scratch, and they brought it to the masses. So hats off to them. I'm less keen on the Hobbit films, but the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, I think, is phenomenal and among my favourite films ever. So I was interested to see this, and the trailer looked good, and the role of Tolkien is played by Nicholas Hoult, who I have a great deal of time for. So I was like, yeah, I'm ready for this. And I did enjoy it, but it just lacks something, and I don't really know what that something is. I'm very conscious of the fact that there's somebody in the car next to me, possibly on the phone, and I realise I look massively weird. I'm balancing my phone on my steering wheel, but I just hope that that's not picking up too much noise. Maybe I'm just gonna put my windows up, bear with. Radio's come on. Oh, honestly, this is so phenomenally professional. And off. See, you don't get this on, other film things. I was going to say like Film 2019. I don't think that even exists anymore. That never happened to Barry Norman. That's my point. Probably never happened to Jonathan Ross either. Anyway, now that I've put the windows up on a really warm day, the woman in the next car's got out. So, yay. Anyway. So, where's my problem? That's what I'm trying to pinpoint, because it looks great, the story's decent, the casting is great. I don't know, I just feel like it was building to something that never really happened. And I don't know what I wanted from it, but the other thing it made me think of, you could see how his life, he's orphaned, he has a brother, he gets put in a private boys' school, on like a scholarship, and he goes to war, which is true, you know, Tolkien fought in the First World War, Battle of the Somme, all that. So you can see where the influences came from, you know, you can see how his life up to that point, elements inspired the works he was going to create. But when I think about another film that did a similar thing, and that was Finding Neverland, which is the story of how J.M. Barrie came to write Peter Pan, I think that did a better job of that sort of thing, where it's like, hey, this is the author, this is his life, this is how he created this character, this story. Plus points, like I say, Nicholas Hoult, I've got all the time in the world for. He's been around a long time now, so obviously quite memorable in About a Boy. He then popped up in the original cast of Skins, alongside Dev Patel, who's gone on to do extremely well as well. He's been in the newer X-Men films, as Beast or Hank McCoy. I really feel that in The Favourite, beginning of this year, everyone was so focused on the women, and my God, they should have been, because all three actresses were the nuts in that film. I feel like nobody talks about Nicholas Hoult, and he was freaking brilliant in that film. You know, all over the top, big wig, pompous. He was just superb. And he's quite tall, so seeing him wear like the giant white curly wig vibe just made him even taller. So yeah, I've got all the time for him, and he was really well cast. He played the part beautifully. His love interest, Esther, was Edith, not Esther. Where did I get Esther from? Edith, sorry. She was played by Lily Collins, Phil Collins' daughter. She's also been around for a while, very accomplished actress. Pam Ferris was in it. Colin Meaney played a part. Derek Jacobi popped up. So, you know, you've got a good calibre of British actors from forever ago, and then a new crop of actors. The guys playing his fellow schoolmates who form his band of brothers, if you like, his boys' club. They were all good. The younger incarnations as well, because you see them as sort of early teens, and then you see them as grown men going off to Oxford and Cambridge respectively, and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, I don't know where my beef is, but I know I have some. I mean, the end made me weep, so, you know, there's that. And I liked it, but I don't know what I expected or what I wanted from it, but I didn't get it. That's really articulate, isn't it? That's exactly what you want from a film review. I quite liked it. I had beef with it, but I don't know what the beef was. I'm trying to avoid saying issues, because that was one of my dad's pet hates, saying you've got issues with something. You've got a problem with it, you haven't got issues. What's that? So yeah, it was okay. It looked nice. There's quite a few old people in the screen. I'm sure they thought it was wonderful. Obviously, there's no like raucous sex scenes or anything like that, so it's a good one for like your nana. It's a nice Sunday afternoon film. It's well acted, it's well shot, it looks beautiful, it shows, you know, English countryside. No, not quite. Yeah, it's, I suppose, like turn of the century up to the 30s Birmingham. So that's quite interesting, the contrast between where Tolkien comes from originally and where he ends up after they lose his father. But yeah, it just lacked something, and I don't know what it was. Maybe you can watch it and tell me in the comments. So yeah, that's it for Tolkien. Enjoyable, glad I've seen it, because I always like to have my own opinion on a film rather than somebody else's. But yeah, not a big wow. It was alright. A bit of another one of them. So until next time, kids, this is Katie in a car park saying goodbye for now.